All right. I'm going to mute you, Jason. It's nothing personal. If you want to use the chat and put stuff in, ask some questions along the way, feel free. So we will get started. So this is storytelling basics. And so what I want to cover is what the story arc is, and then how we can use that to better advertise to our clients. Storytelling is how people communicate. It's the most ancient form of communication and how we get ideas across to people, whether it's, like a Brothers Grimm story or an Aesop's fable or pictographs of me hunting a lion on a cave wall and how I killed it and then fed my family, right? Like, somehow we've been telling stories forever to get our ideas across to people. The problem is in that in storytelling, what we generally do is we make ourselves the hero and we position ourselves as the best character in the story. And when you're advertising, that's the worst thing you can do, because I don't care about you as a client. I care about me. I want my problem solved. I'm glad you feel good and great and you can solve all these problems and it makes you feel extraordinary. But as a buyer, I don't care. And that's the biggest problem I see with how it's not even a construction industry problem, and I have examples that I'll show later. This is a small business marketing problem in that we position what we're advertising as, I do this service, here's my phone number, call me. Okay, unless I'm specifically looking for that service right this second, I don't care, especially when if you're invading my space in social media land. I did a great interview with my friend Shannon Vogel, and she's talking about women are our biggest demographic in construction, right? Most likely they're going to make the buying decision in a home. And so she's inundated with ads all day by being a social media person and being online. There's just ads in her face all day long. So when she actually gets done at the end of the day and she's relaxing on her couch with her glass of wine and she's got the iPad out and she's scrolling to see what her girlfriends have going on and what's happening with the niece or nephew or like whatever it is that's coming that she actually cares about in social media, and then you're a part of a local community group and here's your ad of buy now, 10% off flooring. You're not connecting, right? You totally missed your audience. She's right there. She's enjoying the moment and you ruined it for her. You've gone and completely destroyed your opportunity to reach her because you didn't meet her where she's at. You tried to do a hard sale of, look at me, I offer this, let's close now. And that's not at all going to work. So let me switch over here to this other screen, and I'll start with some flooring examples, and then we'll kind of move into this story arc thing and how it's all going to work. But let me see if I can, this is all new. I haven't done it this way before.
Super rough. Can you believe that little bit that was left in there did that much? I freaking had a feeling that was going to happen.
I'm muting you, man. I'm sorry. Okay, so can you guys see that okay on your end? I'll take a nod. If Jason, can you see that okay? Or does it need to kind of be bigger? I mean, essentially, this is, it's an ad from, it's because it's on the wrong screen. Ha 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 ha. How about that? Does that work? Ha. I'm all new, guys. I'm going to work through the kinks with you. Thank you. All right. So all these ads came off of social media. Hi everyone, I do professional tile installation for a low price. Tile installation, floor, backsplash, showers, fireplace. I have discounts at some stores for you if you need to buy tile. Well, already that's a bad business practice because those discounts are for you to make money on because you're providing the relationship and all of that. But besides that, great, you offer a service. There was no phone number on this ad. There's not a website. There's nothing, right? So now I have to message you through Facebook. All right, not a great look. Just completed entire main floor replacement, removed ceramic tile and carpet, installed vinyl engineered plank flooring, and all new 5-inch baseboard. Happy customers. Some company plumbing and renovation. I think they had a phone number, but okay. And they, like, all these have pictures, but I'm not going to show the other people's work and all that stuff, right? But okay, great. You did some work, right? And let's see. This person does really quick work in like a standard bedroom. Tile floor job installed in grout same day. Thank you for looking. They, again, no phone number. You have to message them through Facebook. Garages, carports, restaurant floor, barber shop floors. I have this problem too, but double check your stuff before you post it. Patio, 15-year labor warranty. There's a good offer. Lifetime manufacturer warranty. Polycruamide, fast curing, extremely high gloss, chemical resistant, no hot tire pickup, no yellowing, no peeling. Cool. I don't know what polycruamide fast curing extremely does. I don't care, right? It's too technical for me. Again, there's probably a number and some info, but like, what? You're just telling me nonsense, right? None of this stuff matters. Give a new look to your home for a free quote. Offer garage door epoxy painting. Free quotes. Garages. They speak Spanish. They work valley-wide. And okay, so right, it's over and over and over again of all these generic things. This person's a handyman. They offer all kinds of services. Go check out his page and comment. So at least he linked to a page and asked for a comment. Like, there's something. And this is not a flooring guy or construction issue. This is an everybody issue. So this company offers like Disney princesses. So you can have a play date with a princess, and they have special pricing from July 1st to August 5th. They're 45 minutes. You can have up to 5 kids there. You get to pick some activities, click the link to book. Okay, so I know the cost, and I know you have princesses, but like, what problem do you actually solve for me, right? This isn't great storytelling. It's just putting an offer out there. This is a plumbing company. I can get 10% off their services, and they tell me a bunch of services, but it's not connecting with me where I'm at when I'm looking for stuff. There's this hair lady almost got it right. So this is really close. This is probably the best fail of all the ads I found this morning. So when's the last time you loved your hair, right? Now we're asking a question to identify and connect with, and then take time for you, something simple like adding bangs, layers, a cut. And this is where they kind of lose me, is because now you're offering all these different services of, here's all these ideas, right? Options are limitless, but you can contact me and I'm going to give you a free consult. And then they say you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook over here. So it starts off good, and then it goes super generic with no offer. And what I want to see is a story that people connect with. All of these homeowners have a problem. There's a reason why your phone is ringing, right? Whether the shower's leaking, they just think it's ugly, the dog pisses on the carpet all the time and they want it out of their house, their grout's cracking. There's some problem that's annoying the hell out of them, and they're calling you to solve it. And so when you can go solve that problem, and then you take that, that's what you want to advertise with is, I met the Smiths and little Fido was peeing all over their carpet, but he's elderly and he's not quite ready to be put down. And so they were looking for a solution that would help keep their home more sanitary, cleaner, and be easier to deal with. So they hired us to come in and install luxury vinyl plank, which when Fido has an accident, you can just come along, you wipe it right up, and you're right back to normal. And if you miss it for a couple of hours, it's no big deal. It's not going to damage the floor. You're going to be able to clean it up and move forward, no problem. That's a problem that a ton of other people can connect with and understand, and they get. So when you're reaching this lady in her time on the couch, enjoying her glass of wine in the evening, and she looks over at her dog that's just pissed on the carpet, she knows who to call to solve that problem. And it's endless, right? Everybody that calls you has something different. Like I said, it's the grout cracking, it's the shower leaking, it's that the dog pisses on the carpet, it's that the hardwood floor got scratched, whatever it is. There's something to identify with and say, oh, I have that problem too. I'm like them. They can help me solve my problem. So all that being said, what do we want to do? We want to look at a basic story arc. And there's what do we got here? We got 6 parts to a story arc, okay? So the first thing is exposition. It's the beginning of the story where we set up our environment and the characters. The initial situation is introduced, all the information that gives us the context to understand where we were just dropped off in the story, right? That's the first 5-10 minutes of a movie. When it begins, all of a sudden you find yourself in a new world and you start being given little details about the main character, their situation, their home environment, the world around them. We're given all of these contextual things so we can identify with and connect with them in the story. That's the first thing we need to be able to do, is we have to set up the environment for people to connect with. Then we have an inciting incident, okay? So this can also be called the catalyst or the trigger. And essentially, it's the problem that sets the entire story into motion, all right? It disrupts the status quo of the main character's life and pushes them towards a path of action or conflict. So something uncomfortable is going to happen in your life. A pipe bursts. The dog pisses on the carpet. A project I just got contacted about was the company that delivered a treadmill, dragged it through this house and completely gouged the hardwood. So now their floor is ruined and they need it fixed, right? So what was this thing that took them out of everyday life? I get to wake up, I raise my kids, I go to work, I do my 9-to-5 thing, and I can enjoy my free time. Something happens that throws you into disruption. That's our problem, right? That's where we get to come in and we can solve it. So that's what we want to identify with, because that's what other people will identify with. The next step, number 3, you have your rising action. So this is where the protagonist faces different obstacles and challenges as the tension builds in their life, and they're looking to seek a resolution to their problem. The main character's goals and motivations become clear. The story develops through a series of events that raise the stakes and propel the story forward, right? It keeps building and building and building until we get to the next step, the climax, but we're not going to talk about that quite yet. So what happens in this story, right? This is where you get to come into the story and your company starts helping them solve their problem. You're going to guide them through the process. You're going to be their mentor on how to solve it. And that's the rising action is, right? Maybe the floor got gouged, but it's a solid hardwood floor. I can't just go and replace 2 boards where they're gouged. I have to replace those boards and now I have to sand and finish the whole floor. This is going to completely throw their life into upheaval. Everything's got to come out of the house. They need to go find an Airbnb to stay at. I need access to the whole thing. It's got to be coded. You can't be on it. It's just this whole big ordeal at this point. And so the stakes went from, oh, I thought it was super easy, just these 2 boards get replaced, to, oh shit, my entire life just got thrown upside down, and I have to figure out how to fight an insurance company to get myself taken care of and have it affect me the least amount possible. Right? And you're helping them through this. You're the expert. You have all of the knowledge to help them through this situation. And that's part of the story you need to tell, is that, we were able to come in and help them do X, Y, and Z. It's not that you did this stuff and you're selling that you can solve these problems and alleviate stress for somebody, because we all know remodels suck, man. People go through a lot for us to be able to come in their house and do what we do. And so let's show them how easy of a process we can make it instead of how difficult of a process. Number 4, you have climax. So that's obviously the part of the story with the maximum amount of tension and the resolution to like the conflict in the story. It's where everything is going. It's where the protagonist must make the critical decision, take action that determines the final outcome of the story. And so initially that's them deciding to hire your company, but then it also becomes them getting their home back, right? There's a whole journey that takes place within you transforming their home into everything that they wanted and completing it. And so that's where before and after pictures come in, right? I love to start my posts with a before and after picture side by side, because I can immediately see, oh, wow, that's a huge transformation. That was absolutely hideous. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. And then I can go through and I'll show a couple more pictures of final product. And then I move into the stuff where I'm like showing the befores and during and things like that. But I like to show the big difference of before and after, a couple of other after shots. If I did like a whole house, I'll show like individual rooms, and then I move into the other stuff. But now we can kind of see what this climax and this payoff was of, here's where we started, here's where we ended, everything turned out okay. And then we can show some of the in-between stuff, because that's one of the biggest things I see lacking, is that no one shows the in-between moments. One of the things I always got complimented on when people would reach out is they're like, oh my gosh, I can tell you care. I can see all the little details you pay attention to and strive for. But that's because I was taking pictures of, here's some rotting subfloor. Here's me putting in the bracing, to sister all this stuff together and brace it. And then here's the patch. And then here's me making sure that the floor is flat. Here's the self level going down. Here's this patch over all of the cracks. It's showing all of the little things, and maybe putting the descriptions on your photos on social media so that some people really dig it. They'll get in there and they'll read it and they're going to appreciate it. Don't inundate the main post with the fine details. You can insert them elsewhere for the people that want them. But most of the time, most people don't care about, water-based finish, oil finish, modified, unmodified, thin sets. Most people don't care. Just get them what they need to do it correctly, and then assure them that, I'm following spec and here's why. And, you're going to get the engineer every once in a while that really wants to know, and hey, have that conversation. But Mrs. Jones probably doesn't care. She wants to get back to having her glass of wine on the couch and not being disturbed and finding out what's happening with Nancy down the street. So number 5, you've got falling action. So this is also known as the resolution, or the fancy French word is denouement. It's the aftermath of the climax. It tells the consequences of the main character's action and resolves any conflicts that previously existed in the story. Loose ends are tied up and the story begins to wind down. So this is where, if you could get that testimonial from them and include that in your post, that would be amazing, right? Now we're going to have, hey, everything turned out. This company came in, they did amazing stuff, but it's that next little piece of the story you can put in there that, hey, they're super satisfied and everything's solved and Fido's super happy that he can pee on the LVP now with no consequences, and they absolutely love how easy it is to clean up the floor. And then number 6 is the conclusion. So it's the final part of the story where any loose ends are fully closed out. The story comes to a satisfying or conclusive ending. It includes a resolution for the protagonist's character arc, and it provides a sense of closure to the reader or audience. And that's where we can sum it all up, bring it around. Hey, if you're experiencing this problem, or you just want to talk about how we can help you solve your flooring issues or shower issues, give us a call at this, right? And so we've brought it from start to end. To put this in context of what it looks like with a movie that probably most everybody knows, okay? Most everybody should know original Star Wars A New Hope, all right? So at the beginning, right, the inciting incident, Luke Skywalker is a farm kid growing up with hopes of becoming a pilot, but his uncle doesn't want him to be. Okay? So that's our exposition, right? We are dropped in this story and we learn that there's this farm kid that is an angsty teenager and is having issues trying to figure out what he can do in life when he's not being allowed to do it. We all identify with that, most likely. We connect with that character, and that's where it comes from. So then we have the inciting incident. So Luke comes into possession of 2 droids that escaped the Empire, and one of them wants to return, leading him on a journey, right? So he meets R2, and R2 has to go and find Obi-Wan. And Luke's trying to keep the droid there. His uncle needs him. They got to get out to the farm and do their thing, whatever. But he's now had this thing happen that threw him out of whack of normal life. So then number 3 is we get that rising action, which is Luke goes and meets Obi-Wan, who teaches him the Force. He finds his aunt and uncle are dead. He leaves his home with Han Solo. He rescues the princess, delivers the plan to the Death Star and the rebels. So that's all this journey that he's on, and this rising action, right? And the stakes get bigger and bigger and bigger. So he had to leave home. That was a journey. And he's learning the Force along the way, which is testing his abilities. And then he learns that there's this huge, they find the Death Star and it can blow up entire planets. And so now the stakes are really big, and that, oh my gosh, the Empire can just completely destroy entire planets. And so it keeps growing and growing and growing. So the climax comes, and we have Luke flying the X-Wing through the trench of the Death Star. And he gets to, you get to that point where he has to make that ultimate decision of, do I try and do it on my own, or do I trust the Force to do it? Okay. And so he hears Obi-Wan, he trusts the Force, he shoots the torpedoes, it blows up the Death Star. And so that's where number 5 comes in, this falling action, right? We get that the Death Star is destroyed, and the galaxy's safe from the ultimate killing machine, and the main characters have all survived. And then we get to our conclusion, where it's the award ceremony for the heroes, and they're all looking forward to their future. So that's how we can look at the story arc and then relate it to something that we probably all know and really, really understand. But what does it look like in an actual breakdown of how are we going to go and use this for something that we can do? So Number one, we got Mrs. Jones enjoys her home with her kids and dogs in the suburbs and everything functions as needed. A storm happens. The roof leaks and her wood flooring gets damaged. So after contacting your firm, you were able to help Mrs. Jones see that the wood could not be fixed and would need to be a full tear out because the damage was just so bad. This is more than she has expected, but she has insurance for this and will happily contact them and get them involved. So the insurance claim goes through XYZ Contracting and is able to perform the work and put a brand new floor in place. That is everything Mrs. Jones has dreamed of for years, but never thought that she could afford. So this bad situation got her dream floor, and maybe she had to chip in a couple of bucks, but you were able to get her there by working with the insurance company and helping them out. So then the family's able to get back to normal life and their new floor better fits their lifestyle. Maybe they went with tile instead of hardwood. And between the kids all do sports and they never listen about taking their cleats off and there was just gouges all over the hardwood or something. I don't know. Right. So new floor, better lifestyle. It totally fits what's going on for them. And then everyone's excited to experience the new floor and the Joneses are able to entertain again. And they tell all their friends about the great experience that they had with you. You're able to go and say, who do you know right now that you would recommend for a floor? But at this point, so what does that look like in a whole write-up, right? Like, how would I position this story to be an actual advertisement? And so this is what I have. A few months back, we had a horrible storm that did a lot of damage to many homes in the area. Our recent client was part of this unlucky group. Sadly, during the storms, their roof leaked while they were out with friends for dinner. The water damage was so severe the entire floor needed to be replaced. Luckily, the homeowner's insurance was able to step in and help take care of some of the project costs. Our client was not only able to get the floors she always wanted, but now they are a better match for the family's lifestyle. We were able to assist them from demo through installation to help them get back in their home and start entertaining their friends again. Give us a call at 555-555-5555 today or send us a message to discuss your project with us today. I've presented something that somebody else from that time frame can connect with and say, oh man, my floor's got damage too. Right? And so it's trying to find that way to, instead of just saying, hey, I offer tile installation. Great. What problem can you actually solve for the homeowner that they will connect with, right? Is it that you can do grout repairs? Is it that you can fix stains? Is it that if it's leaking, you may have a fix that doesn't involve an entire tear out? No, I don't want to hear it from you tile guys about how it should just be a full replacement automatically. I understand that it probably needs to be, but let's entertain the idea, right? Do we have some kind of a solution that could get them by? What's the problem that someone else is going to identify with that doesn't put you at the center of this advertisement saying, hey, look at me over here. I got 10% off. I got $200 off a 500 square foot job or more. Call me for flooring. I don't care. I don't. No one's going to care. How many of you open up the value pack coupons that come in your mailbox once a month or every week or whatever it is? Every single value pack coupon. Buy now, save money, they all get ignored. All of them, every single one. I'd take that back. I just listened to a podcast and the company actually does pretty well with it, but they're one of the biggest garage doors in the company in the country right now. But they also are advertising a lot of other spaces. So you have to be able to figure out what the messaging is that's going to work for your demographic. But go look at what's consistent amongst the clients you serve, and you'll start seeing commonalities amongst them of, look, the rich people, man, sometimes they just want new stuff because they want new stuff and they want it to look pretty. Can you write a compelling ad about how you have access to the best designer in town to find the prettiest things that work for someone, and how easy that designer makes the process of selecting all of the options to beautify your home, probably someone's going to be into that. You might have the clientele for that. My clientele generally had a floor they hated and was ugly. They've saved up for years and they wanted it replaced with something that was friendly to their kids who were now a little bit more grown up, but still messy. And so I was able to constantly write stories that connected with them there. Let's see. Manufacturer, are you going to make a graphic am I going to make a graphic? I'm not. Maybe I can, Eduardo. I don't know. I can put something together. You're asking a lot out of me. Where would you insert the fine details while telling your story in the Facebook post in the climax portion of the story? Like what? So Jason, go ahead and unmute yourself. Like what fine details, like about like the little things, like we had to self-level and we had to fix this thing over here. We'll get there. Don't worry. Technology is hard.
Yeah, I was talking about the fine details, like you said in the climax part. I was just trying to how to convey like we're using the premium materials, the premium crowds, premium thin sets. How for people that is actually interested in them, and if we kind of flood the advertisement with all those details you were saying nobody really cares, how would you go about inserting them?
I try, like when I do it, I try not to write about any specific product. Like I'll write that I self-leveled the floor, but I won't mention that I used Utsin or Ardex or whatever, right? I'm not necessarily hung up on mentioning that I use high quality products. I think that's a given. As a professional, I should be using high quality products and I shouldn't be trying to skimp and use lower cost materials. I think that's something once you get in the house that becomes a part of your presentation of, hey, look, we only use epoxy grouts in the bathroom because we find they hold up better and are more stain resistant compared to traditional grouts. That's something that's going to be different from other companies, but that's more of like an in-person thing than an initial connect thing. I think if you try and get too many details in there, you're going to lose everybody, right? It's about what's the basic concept to connect with you, and let me get you to call me so that I can have that deeper discussion. I don't want to inundate you with too much info from the get-go. I just want you to be able to connect and identify with, you have this similar problem and I have the solution for you. I'll guide you through the process, right? When the whole point of the story is that you want the homeowner that's reading the ad to identify that they're the Luke Skywalker in the story and you're Obi-Wan, right? You become the guide to them to mentor them through it and help them get the ending they need. And so they get the big transformation and they get all the glory and you're just there to assist them in it. That's really what you're wanting people to connect with, is that you don't want your company to appear as the hero in the story when you're advertising. Then you're completely missing the point and you're pushing people away from you instead of drawing them in. That's really, really what you're searching for, is that it's not, the fine details can always be discussed down the road, right? But the biggest thing is, let me connect with you in a way that you understand that I'm here to help you through and you get to experience all of the great changes and then you celebrate at the end with a big victory of like, I have this new beautiful house, instead of it being, hey, call me, pay me money, I'll give you floor, and you look like the hero because you walked away with a $10,000 check. That's not helping anybody. All right. Questions from anybody else? I know some of you tuned in kind of like halfway through or anything, so if you're not clear on something, I'm happy to answer. If you want to raise your hand or type a question, I'm happy to answer them now. All right. Well, that's the basics, everyone. That's how I want to see people advertising to their clients is, let's get creative. Let's tell some stories. Everybody has one. I know that you are in these homes and you are talking with these homeowners. If you're the guy that's still on the tools, I know you're connecting with the homeowners and spending time with them. If you are a larger company and you have a sales team and maybe the salesperson learns a little something and then the installers that are on site learn a little something, you can piece together these stories, right? That's what a CRM is for. This is where the notes go, right? We can learn that they have kids. We can learn that they were struggling with this thing or that thing. You can start getting all the pieces together so that when that job's completed and you have the story, you're able to put it together. Eduardo had to dip, but he asked, is this mainly for residential or all marketing? And it's for all marketing. It doesn't matter what you're selling or where. This format will work and I wouldn't call this marketing, right? This is advertising. Advertising is asking for that direct sale, but you're doing this in a way now where with the storytelling, you're drawing someone in to connect with you and have you come solve a problem instead of just being in their face blatantly, again, asking for buy floors now, 10% off, extreme blowout sale. Great. Everyone has one of those. And some of that stuff works. It doesn't work all the time. Story connects with people. It always will. It never will not work. That's how we connect as people. We want to be a part of a story. We want to tell stories. That's what we do as human beings. What's a CRM? So a CRM is a customer resource manager or relationship manager. Essentially, if you have one, it allows you to put in all of their details, whether it's name, phone number, address, email, depending on how intricate they get. It has a note section. It lets you know where you're at in the sales process with them of, initial bid, follow up, closed, scheduled for this date to have the install underway, completed, awaiting payment. It can start tracking all of those details for you. And when you have 10, 20, 50 jobs running at once, you're going to need something like that as opposed to one or two. Another part of this is understanding that branding, marketing, and advertising are not the same thing. So we're talking about advertising. This is a direct pitch to draw money in. That's what advertising does. Marketing is building an awareness of your company, right? We're going to get out there and be more present. It's kind of putting all of the things together. That's where you might get it's hard to tell a story on a billboard. Could it be done? Yes, but it's hard, right? But that's where it's going to be like, hey, here's my picture and here's my phone number and here's my logo and my company name and a pretty picture of floors behind me, right? That's going to be some marketing, right? And maybe in a local magazine, in the value pack, on the billboard, on a bus bench. Now I have some marketing going on along with my advertising on Facebook through Google My Business. Maybe it's a landing page or some kind of a video on YouTube, right? We can find different ways to tell this same story. And then lastly, you have branding. So companies that are great at branding, Coke, Nike, right? You see a polar bear, a cartoon polar bear, and immediately you know it's a Coke commercial. You see that swoosh and you know it's Nike. Branding is just awareness of your brand overall. And so that's done through, you could get yard signs, you can get your trailer and truck wrapped, putting out flyers to the neighbors, and maybe you find a couple of restaurants that do like the advertising on their table. That's all branding, to where now it's just getting that recognition of people seeing you everywhere. So don't confuse the terms, right? We're talking advertising, which is a direct pitch to get a sale. I've always found the best way to get a direct pitch across is by telling a story that the homeowners, the potential client, can connect with. How do we draw them in and have them realize that it's not just a floor for 10% off or save $200 or whatever it's going to be. It's, I have this problem and I now connect with understanding that Kyle, Illustrious Hardwoods, whoever you are, solves this specific problem. And week after week, as you close out projects, the story's always different. And it's up to you to go have the conversations to find out what that story is so you can best tell it. But unless you're having the conversations and connecting, it's not happening. We're not there to do a service. That's the last thing that we do these days. As a business owner, I know Matt Garcia's on. Matt has employees. So he's worked his way out of having to be the guy on the floor all the time. And when you've put yourself in that position, maybe you become a little bit more disconnected, but it gives you more time to start investing into other areas. And this is an area where you can start putting more time. I know that he actually has his sales manager working on starting to craft some of these stories and get them out there and connect with people. But every client has a different reason why they bought. They had a different pain point that they needed, that you can identify with, of why they hated whatever they hated about what they wanted changed. There was a different struggle of getting through the process, and there was a different end result for them of why they're super happy now. How did you facilitate that change and help them get through it? Convey those ideas, and you will have people better connecting with any content that you are putting out. And this doesn't apply to just the written form, right? This doesn't have to be that I wrote an ad for my Facebook page and then shared it into 60 different community groups. You can make a video and follow this same format. Okay, and I can use the pictures and I can do a voiceover with it and tell the same story and put it on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok and do a reel. I can ask the questions that would elicit the correct responses from the client themselves. And I can film a testimonial video. All right. It's great when we get testimonials and people say, I love this tile company. They did great work. Wow. Right. I'm happy they gave me the review. I'm happy I have the testimonial. Super generic, doesn't tell anybody why they should choose me over company X, Y, and Z, right? So if you're going to go get testimonial videos, ask the questions. Hey, what stood out about our services? What did we do that was unexpected for you? Have the homeowner craft the tale in the testimonial that sells you, right? Ask the questions, hey, what was the thing that made you realize to call us? What'd you want new floors for? Why'd you want a new shower? And then you can start taking those, and you don't have to be great at video. Okay. Take your phone. Everyone's got one these days. We all got a smartphone that has a video camera on it. You're not a professional. No one expects you to have professional quality Hollywood style content. And in fact, if you did, I wouldn't want to hire you anymore because you would be too expensive for me, because I would know that the entire budget went somewhere else. Like, I won't go buy Nike shoes. Nike shoes aren't worth the amount that people pay for them because of all of the advertising money they spend on athletes. And just, it's absurd. Most of that money pays for the ad budget. So if you had a professionally polished ad, I would start to question it. But the fact that you have content that I can watch and connect with is a lot better than having nothing. So don't be afraid. You don't have to put yourself in the video. You don't have to do this thing that I'm doing right now and get in front of people and be willing to talk and share and expose yourself, right? You can film the client if you can get them on video. You can then insert pictures into the video from the project. And you can record a voiceover after the fact. If you don't even want to record a voiceover, hire one of your kids. Pay somebody on Fiverr. Get a neighbor to do it, right? You don't have to participate in any way, but there's safer ways to do it than having to put yourself in front of the camera. But then you're getting these stories, you're getting the message out there that people are going to connect with. They're going to understand. You're humanizing all of it. When it's just text and pictures and a request to call you, I have no reason to do it. But I'm a human and I like people. I want to know, like, and trust you. And when I do that, it's easier to buy from you. All right. That's a lot to take in. So again, are there any questions on anything I went over? Again, raise your hand or type it in the thing. But that's the super basics of how to craft this story around what we do. Yes, Jason.
I want to say that this is good stuff. That earlier this morning I went into Google and updated some of my stuff, and all of a sudden I had a phone call. And the lady has a problem. It wasn't even her problem, it's her boss's problem. She said that they had a shower or something, water leak above, and the shower ceiling has fallen in. The insurance company doesn't want to replace the whole thing. She's looking for somebody to come in and replace the tile that was on the ceiling. So I think that I'll be able to work that into, I think I'll be able to work a story into it and maybe help with my advertising. I just want to say that this is really good information. Thank you for putting this out there for us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure, man. Look, this was my big ticket mistake in life. I'm not even going to lie. I spent way too much money on a film school education to learn that it's a trade, same as flooring. And I should have taken $5,000 and moved to LA and gotten involved in the industry. And I could have learned a lot more, I think in 3 months in the field, I learned more than the 3 years I did learning theory at school. And I'm glad I know the theory and I get it, and there's lots behind it, and it's helped craft a lot of what I was able to do. But I want to share what I've learned, right? That's where the podcast comes from, is I needed help and information. I went finding the people that could bring that information to you, and let's sit down, let's have the conversation, let's all grow a better business. There's a quote that just came out of, there was a boot camp held by Broadloom, which is a big technology company that offers websites and estimating software and a CRM at this point. And they went to America's Floor Source in Ohio, which is owned by Jason Goldberg. And I think they're probably slated to do like 300 million this year. And he's looking to grow the company to $1 billion at this point is the next goal. But I don't know who said it, but it was that essentially competition only happens at the bottom of a market. At the top, people are collaborating. And that's paraphrased. It's not an exact quote, but I want to get people in this industry collaborating and working together. I don't have competition in my area. It's Phoenix. There's 4.5 million people here. it's not hard. There's plenty of work to go around, right? I can work with another tile guy. I can work with another hardwood guy, and we can refer each other back and forth. I don't want to drive the 45 minutes to the other side of town. So again, it comes down to stories and relationships and building them. And I want to make sure that people are able to do that. Let's get to a collaborative state where we help each other build and succeed as opposed to trying to take away. I think the only people that I know that could have competition are if you are a tile guy and there's another tile guy in a town of 5,000 people, you might actually have competition. But even then, what would it look like to work with each other and say, how can we assist each other both succeed at what we're doing? It's a higher level mindset to want to collaborate and help someone else become better than when you just look out for you and I got to make every dollar I can. The money will come regardless. It's out there. Stop chasing money and work on building a great culture, work on investing in people and making them better, and everything else is going to come to you. If you don't listen to the podcast and you randomly found yourself here, check out Floor Academy. Every Wednesday, there's a brand new episode that comes out. I interview other successful entrepreneurs and flooring business owners about things they do in their business to help you better run your business. If this information was super helpful, let me know, and go to the Floor Academy group on Facebook. Just type in Floor Academy. You'll find it. Join that. Leave me some info there, or you can email me flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. I would love to get any feedback. I'd be happy to do more things like this in the future with things that I have some expertise in and help get that information out there. If you're struggling with your business and you're sick of not having time and you feel that there's not enough of you to go around, I would suggest checking out the mastermind groups that I do. I take 5 business owners. I put you into a group. We meet every other week. It's active goal setting. It's about having other like-minded individuals around you that are motivated to grow their company, so you get an accountability factor. It's been an amazing source for business therapy, to be honest. It sounds absolutely crazy, but I know what it's like to be owning a business and not having someone to talk to. Like, I love my wife to death. I can tell her about the problems in my business. She doesn't always get it the way that someone else in the industry would get it when I explain a problem and I say I'm struggling in this thing. She can empathize with me, but having someone that's been there, done that can really help. Also, just externalizing our problems. A lot of times we're owner operators. We're trapped inside our own head and we process everything internally. So just the chance to spew it out externally and vocalize it, a lot of times you will find yourself in a way of solving it on your own. So if you're interested in those, you can go to flooracademypod.com and there's a mastermind tab. There's a little video. You can schedule a call with me. It's $350 a month, but it gets you in a group with business owners that want to move their business forward. This is going to be for anyone that wants to grow their company and is struggling to get it done, which I think is most business owners. You want your time back. That's why you went in business and started it. You were like, I don't want to work for the guy. I want to control my destiny. And then you find yourself not at all able to control your destiny because you're so busy wearing 15 hats instead of the one employee hat that you don't do it. So you're actively working on setting your goals and you feel really foolish when you come to the meeting 2 weeks later and say, I haven't done anything. And you got 5 people there saying, what gives? So it's keeping you on track. It gives you a way to process all of your information differently, and you're getting a really strong network of people that you can communicate with all of the time to help move yourself forward. And then you get access to the other mastermind groups and you can communicate with them too. So you're getting a giant network that I'm putting together of motivated individuals that want to see this industry change for the better, and themselves personally, they want to grow. And I think that's it. I think that'll do us. So thanks for tuning in and checking out how to tell a story. And I hope you use it. If you get some success, if you guys take this and you start posting some social media ads and stuff, I'd love to see comments that come in from people or anything like that. Or if you start closing jobs, let me see some feedback that it's working for you. And if you need help, please feel free to reach out. Again, flooracademypodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook. You probably know where to find me if you found your way here. Feel free to reach out. I am an open book if you didn't know, and I will happily help you with what I can. So again, thank you for coming by, and I appreciate it.